Beers Bugs Bullshit, episode 52, Yagsy Mash.
You bring the beer, I'll bring the bud. Bullshit.
Headphones are there.
Is this an AR-15?
No, that's a tortoise.
There's an AR-48.
Don't listen to us talk shit. Beers, bugs, bullshit.
12 gauge. Fucking sick. I've seen it, bro. The homie has it. Yeah? Dope. Woo! Welcome back, Beers, Bongs, and Bullshit, episode 52 on 1K to Can Big P. Yours truly, True Justice, and our special guest today, the 2020 Outstanding Philanthropist of the Year, Rick Clark. What's up, man?
Yeah.
Hey guys,
What's up, man?
Yeah,
welcome. It's good to
you guys
have
do
you.
this stuff late.
Yeah.
We do, man. It took us a long time to actually figure out like a good schedule for us all, and like, if we came Friday nights at pretty much 8 o'clock is our jam, so it works. I'm usually dying by sometimes we hit midnight, and I'm like, bruh, I've been up. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, but it's good, man.
I'm almost
It's
50, so 9 o'clock is like 11:30.
I know when you said this to be the
Yeah,
latest
I'm on-
I've stayed up in a while, I was like, uh-oh.
I'm on East Coast time.
Stock up some Red Bulls.
I did get some Monster Energies in there.
I saw those. I might
Yeah.
lean on those.
Yeah, have at it, bro.
It is a good end of the week type of situation. It's like the cap,
Yeah.
the nightcap per se.
Yeah.
Oh,
to
for
wrap
sure.
up the
I go
stress of the
home
week.
Right.
Enter the weekend correctly.
Sleep till noon every time usually, unless I gotta volunteer again in the morning. By the way, so
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. I don't have COVID.
Okay.
Right now.
Don't worry. Don't
It's
worry.
all good, bro.
You cough now, and people look at you.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
You have to explain every cough and sneeze, man. It sucks.
I don't feel as weird anymore if I go to the store and I cough like one or two times.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's as bad as last year. Like it's
there's
a little
someone
different.
at work. I was like, man, you're sniffling a little too much right now. You okay?
Do we need to talk?
They're like, no, it's just my allergies, and I'm like, yeah,
It's
allergies,
allergy
some
season
allergies.
again.
I was like, there was no flu, so there's no allergies. And they're like,
Hey, can you smell this?
Allergies are dead.
Yeah, right?
Too.
Can you change
does
this?
it smell like chloroform?
Oh man, but yeah, you said you were going to school and stuff like that still, like working on some education stuff.
I'm getting a master's degree, which being
That's
a high school
incredible.
dropout in this town for 28 years, just to be able to say that, I sometimes feel like it's an out-of-body experience. Like
That's dope.
not me that's doing this, but I'm doing it.
That's incredible.
And
Well-
you got a full scholarship?
No, I got a hefty scholarship.
Hefty scholarship.
And then Mike Rowe came and dropped some money on me, which made it even better. But
Mike
it's
Rowe
so
from the TV
expensive.
show?
Yeah.
Dirty Jobs?
Yep. He came to my class and paid off my tuition.
No
And
shit.
surprised me in my class.
That's cool.
What?
dude.
Look up the
man.
episode on YouTube, Kane.
That's tight.
Yeah, they lied to me and said it was like a local production they were putting together, which is still cool. But I was doing my finals, and I was like, I can't really entertain you guys, but you can follow me around if you want to. But I got to get these grades because I want to graduate, and so I played it off like it was no big deal. And then they surprised me and set him behind me in class, kind of off to the side. And he raised his hand and asked a question, and I heard his voice, and his voice is like God, And I was like,
You got like a Sam Elliott voice.
yeah, and my brain freaked out for a second, and I thought, oh, that's a local weather guy or something. Like, who is the? Just for a quick second, then I was like, wait a second, that's the dirty. Why is he in Spokane? One, and why is he sitting right behind me talking to me? And then the whole day was about me. He took me out to lunch with my family and
Oh wow.
surprised me at the arena, the school, McCarthy Athletic Center. Filled it with people. They had one of those big cardboard cutout heads of my head and were cheering me on. It was like a basketball game, and he walked me in and surprised me with $70,000 worth of stuff for my backpack program and paid off my tuition. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
Your story alone. Every time I
really
learn a little bit more about you every day, and I'm just like, man, how cool. And I just watched Humanized Spokane.
yeah.
I just watched that, and I was like, man, just think. Where did your story begin, Rick? Because you go so far.
Oh man,
You were born here, right?
Yeah, born here in 1971. Born into severe poverty. My story's not a lot different than a lot of people. My dad walked out on us when I was 1, and so my mom was left raising 3 kids by herself. And I don't know if you guys remember, but I don't even know how old you guys are, but back in the 80s when you were on welfare, you would get a welfare check that would cover your rent. You get a book of actual food
I
stamps.
remember the paper stamps.
Yeah, they look like Monopoly money.
Yeah.
And then you get medical insurance and these other things all piled up. If you added that up and set it right next to an income that my mom could have made working full-time minimum wage, you actually made more on welfare. And so it's really hard for a mom to leave 3 rowdy kids at home, go do all this stuff every single day for less money.
Yeah.
And so she tried to do the right thing over and over again because the world tells her you need to stop being on welfare. And so she would try, but it was such a weird cycle that she got defeated, and we were just on welfare my entire life. So like as a kid, when your only focus is where you're going to get food, it kind of messes up your plans as a kid. So I didn't get to do the fun things like go to camp and sports and ski and all that stuff. I was just like every other kid, but I just didn't have any money. And so that messed with my head, and by the time I was 18, I had dropped out of school. My sisters and I dropped out of school, and we just started that cycle again, started having kids, got on welfare, and 40 jobs later in Spokane with no education, I wasn't any better off than I was when I was 18. And so, in 2015, which wasn't too long ago, that's when things changed.
Man.
Being on Section 8, because I was on Section 8 for several years and paying $175 for rent. I mean, I'm not saying it's for everybody, but I got complacent. I was like, the hell would I want to do? I want to go work and pay full rent when I could do a little hustle here, a little hustle there, and I can pay my rent and I can get food and all that shit's taken care of. And then, I don't know.
It almost feels like a trap, doesn't it? Like
it does.
Like whoever they are, trap you. Like, well, you're just not, you don't have an education, you don't have any skills, so we're going to set you in this system that you'll never be able to get out of. And I literally thought I was going to die that way, you guys. I was 44 years old in 2015. I woke up in this trailer. I owed rent. My lights got shut off. I didn't have a car, didn't have a job. My wife and I were separated, and it was really, really a bad day. But as much as I want to say that was the first time I'd experienced suffrage like that, like suffering, that's the way it is in poverty. So you have these ups and downs your whole life, and there's a lot of downs, and they're really bad, and you start over every time. And I was just tired, and I looked at myself that day in the mirror, and I was crying, and I was like, you're not going out like this. You're almost 50. I don't want to be the guy that always had his hand out because I always needed help. I knew that there had to have been something in me that's worth more than what I had been doing. And so that's when I took the bus to Spokane Community College. I was scared to death because I didn't like school. I didn't have good grades. I hadn't opened a book in 28 years. So it wasn't like I was excited about it. I was out of options. And so I walked in there and I took this assessment test, and they said, you passed, but it's really low, but there's people who have scored lower, and that's all I need to hear. Like, cool, I'm not the worst student in the entire history of the world. And then things started blowing up from that. And that was 6 years ago, and every day has been better than the day before. And I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
Incredible.
So,
Incredible.
One thing I love, because how old were you when you started giving backpacks?
So I was 44.
44.
Yeah.
And it's inspiring to me because I hear a lot of people talk about it's too late, right?
Yeah.
It's too late. And you're living proof that hearing you say every day gets better and better, it's like that's what it's about. Like there's still so much more life to live.
Oh.
And a lot of people need to hear that story, that it doesn't matter if you're a little older than you expected you were going to be, because the system does feel set up to keep us complacent in those situations.
And
like even now.
I felt like it was too late. Like I told you guys, I felt like I was probably going to die, that poor guy. And so because of what happened that day, I met Jared the same day that I was going to register for class. And Jared was the homeless man that I reached out to for the first time in my life. I walked up to somebody who was suffering more than I was, and I didn't think that was possible at the time. And that 8 minutes that I spent with him just to get to know a complete stranger and find out that he'd been robbed of his backpack, that changed everything. And then it put the shift in my life that, turned into all this great stuff that happened. But I really did that day think that it was, because you talk about how people think it's too late. I thought that myself that day, but I'm proof that you can give to people and you can help people even on your worst day, and it could turn into the most beautiful day in the world. And I didn't know that's how it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we had a conversation on here probably a while back. I think it was on here, but I was talking about how, many times I didn't donate anything because I felt like it wouldn't be enough to be worth donating, or giving to somebody, and it's like how ridiculous. Like anything does help. Like,
Yeah, I remember that.
And when you really get to terms with that, it's like, you know, it's almost like we put some kind of pressure on ourselves. Like, oh God, like I don't want to be the person who only gave $5.
Right.
But it makes it. If everybody could just get that mind state, we could really help a lot more. And
Oh, absolutely.
you're showing that. I'm like, I remember when we first linked up a year or two ago,
Yeah.
and I picked up some backpacks from you because I was like, I want to help out with this.
Yeah.
And just the impact that you get to directly see face to face with people when you hand them those backpacks, especially at nighttime when they feel like it's the end of the worst day ever. They don't have anything. It was so cool, and we just kept we're like pumping them up. We're like, these are from Rick Clark giving backpacks. Rick Clark giving, and they're
Spread
just
the
like,
word.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, like this is. It just, you really feel like you saved somebody for one more night at least.
You know what's weird is that first week that I was doing backpacks, one of my dear friends that I grew up with, he ended up going to prison for many, many years for selling drugs. And he was in Dick's parking lot the same day that I was giving backpacks out, and he was buying a whole bunch of drugs. And so he's like, Rick, what are you doing? We hadn't seen each other in a while, and we hugged. And I was like, oh, I'm starting this backpack program. And he's like, what are you talking about? And but he remembers growing up with me. Like we were just always trying to survive. And so it was just weird seeing like that's what my life could have easily been.
Yeah.
And he went on, and now he's out and he's doing great stuff. But it was just a weird moment in time where our paths crossed, and I was doing something that he was even surprised about because we were always the guys that would have needed the backpack, you know.
Yeah.
And here I am being on the other side of it, and that has been an amazing feeling, just being able to help.
Yeah.
So what's obviously I know, but what's in the backpacks, man?
So we pack them like we would pack for if you had a mom or a dad that was homeless or a brother. We put anything in them. So we put toiletries, brand new socks for sure, because that's the number one asked for item.
Socks are always a thing,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, because they get trashed quick.
Right.
So we put like 3 or 4 good pair of socks in there, and then all the toiletries you can think of, and then resources have been a big part because we've given out 7,000 backpacks. That means everybody that's homeless has 3 backpacks at this point, just because we've literally covered the town in backpacks. But
Right.
I want to do more than just give out backpacks. I want to put resources from agencies so when you're sitting there, you're alone at night, you're sad, you're looking through your backpack, there might be things in the backpack that will get you over the hurdle that you're facing: drug and alcohol, mental health, maybe you just need a job. All that stuff will be in the backpack. So not that everybody uses it and goes and does exactly what's in the backpack, but I know for a fact, because I get feedback from people, that, man, that saved my life. That backpack I put on my new apartment living room wall as a reminder of what you did, Rick. And I'm like, whoa, that's some deep stuff right there. Like that.
You ever put anything crazy random in, like just like certain, like out of like 100 backpacks, like
A Hot Wheels car.
here's a Hot Wheels, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What was that thing? My wife might know that thing that kids were really into. It was like a.
Fidget spinner.
Yeah. So somebody gave me like a box of 1,000 of those, and so
Oh,
we
yeah.
put those in the backpack. So
yeah.
I mean, it probably made somebody smile, or they were like, "What the hell is this?"
Something
bet-
to do
I
while
bet-
you're sitting there.
I mean,
Fidget spinner.
Oh yeah.
you and I and TJ, we kind of work with a lot of the same folks, and I'm guessing maybe some of them probably enjoyed the fidget spinner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Probably some of their favorite. Just
Warrior
over here,
Rock
they're
was-
like,
yeah.
hell yeah. I don't have one of these.
Hey, I wore my fidget spinner out. Can I get a new one?
No, I love that. I love the concept of the backpacks too, because when you do visually see it all the time out on the streets, bikes and backpacks are
Yeah.
like huge commodities. Like, and if everybody had one, maybe they'd stop robbing each other a little bit.
I wish some of my grown ass homies would get some like bikes that fit them.
Yeah.
When you see them and then you're
Not a
like, hey,
BMX.
bro, like you're 40 and you're on a mongoose.
It kind of makes me laugh though.
Hey man,
Just two.
I'm gonna get a mongoose.
They're
don't know
just,
if this is a
you're,
good
you're
time.
too,
40
you're too
yet,
big.
but I'm gonna get a mongoose.
You're too
They're
big.
24, man. 24 inch.
I don't know if there's a
I'm
good.
not too big on one.
I don't know if there's a good time to bring this up, but I just bought an electric bike.
Oh,
Yeah, dude. It just,
How far
you
does
can
it go
pedal
to-
if you want to, and I
far-
don't usually want to. So
How far does it go?
it'll go
to charge?
40 miles charged.
Damn, dog.
Dang,
How
that's
fast?
And
off the hook.
it has pedal assist, so like if you're like, hey, I'd like a little help,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And I'll fly past like a triathlete guy working out, and I'll have a latte, and I'm just flying past him, and he's just like,
Does it go like 25? Top speed like 25, 35?
yeah. So it's like a badass Lime scooter bike that I own and plug in, and it's cool. I look weird as shit on it.
Still a lot of people
Thank
using
you for going electric, bro.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
changing the world.
Yeah, that's
You're
why I
saving
did it,
the world. Yeah.
using those Lime scooters. I still see a lot of people using them. I figured like, after COVID, people touching it, people are gonna freak
yeah.
out. well, you better wipe it down. You know what I mean? You see them all over the place.
Well, that was one of the funny things about COVID too. Is when I saw those come back out, I was like, oh, those can still be around though.
Right.
Yeah.
That's odd. Everybody's getting their hands sweat all over.
Said you can go to a Walmart, but just on the pops business.
Or a gym.
Yeah, or a gym.
Don't go get healthy.
You were talking about like feeling bad for donating $5, and we'll probably talk about Spokane quarantine a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
well, yeah.
I get donations for $1, and a lady will write like, "This is all I have, but I have to be a part of something good, and I want to be a part of something good so bad that I'll give you my last $1." And I'm like, I don't ever want to take somebody's last $1, but how can you argue with that? That's like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah,
That was
no,
really
it's
dope.
huge. It's huge. I don't want to get too much into that because I know I want to talk about that.
You guys, I hate to carry cash anymore, because I'll see so many people that I know on corners and whatnot, and I'll end up being like, "How you doing, man?" He's like, "Well, I'm staying away from downtown. I'm trying to get clean." I'm like, "Well, here's the rest of my money."
Right.
And they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Don't spend it on stupid shit."
Yeah.
I always struggle. Like my kids started asking a couple years back, and when we would drive by people and we hit the red light right there, and they're standing right there, because a lot of people are like, "You can't look at them, right?
yeah.
You can't look at them.
Start messing with your
And it's
radio.
like, no, you can't. It's actually good. Just look and wave and say hi.
Yeah.
They know
It
not
won't kill
everybody's
you.
going to give them something. It's like they're just hoping somebody will. But they would always ask, like, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? You know, it's hard to explain it. It's like, well, sometimes you get in a position where, and some people, I mean, we've seen some people that we know have housing or we know have a vehicle. They'll walk to their vehicle after they're done on a corner. It's hard to decipher. And
Right.
I just, every once in a while, if I have some cash and I see them, I'm like, you know what? Here you go, have some. You know, that's what I have. Usually I don't. So it made that concept a little easier. And I like to actually just, if they're in front of a store, especially, like, do you need something? I can get you something.
Yeah, it always blows my mind when somebody will say, how do you choose who's worthy of a backpack? And that question just freaks me out because I'm like, I've given out 7,000 backpacks. I've probably given backpacks to really bad people.
Yeah,
I've probably given backpacks to people that are wanted, you know. But it's never my position to
matter,
run a
yeah.
credit check or ask what kind of work you do. Or I mean, I know that out of 7,000, I probably touched the heart of several of them, you know, and that's all that matters. So it just blows my mind that people think that there is like a process that you vet people on the street before you give them a backpack. And those people, I worry about talking to little kids about how scary these people are, and don't ever look at them. Don't ever, you know, because you're right. It's like,
what comes from your heart means more than judging their heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you gave from your heart. It doesn't matter who the fuck or
Right.
what the
Yeah.
fuck they
Well,
did.
and what kind of high horse do you really have to be like they're not worthy of a backpack?
oh, I know, right?
I
Toilet
mean,
paper, like
socks,
you don't
like-
deserve to brush your
Yeah.
teeth.
It's like I'm not handing out vehicles. I'm not
Right,
you know,
right,
you know,
exactly.
giving out gold necklaces.
I love
Like,
getting into conversations about hand ups versus handouts
Yeah.
with the elite in Spokane because I'll shut them down every time because when I get done, they're like, oh, I guess being human is more important than. It's like, really, dude? I'm not scared if it's in my backyard.
Being human's more important than money, I
All
guess.
right, I'll go work on that.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that you said something back in the day about how it was specifically meant and designed to just help them survive that night when you got it to them. Like that was the big, get them at least through another night.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, it really changed my perspective and made me fall in love with the program even more. Because I was like, how cool, like all this work just to make sure that we give them at least one more chance, more, because that's all people need. You know, it was one more chance sometimes. And
Yeah.
without when you remove that expectation of like, I saw them the week after they didn't have the fucking backpack.
Yeah.
You know, what a waste of time. It's like, no, it wasn't, because they survived.
and they'll remember that
yeah.
act for as long as
Yeah.
you know. Things will happen down the road that I'll never be around to witness it, but they'll remember that kind act, and that'll be enough to get them over the hump. You know.
And I'm pretty sure I remember one time giving our last one out, somebody else coming down and seeing everybody have it. And I'm pretty sure I recall one of the people actually giving theirs to that person.
Oh, that
you
wouldn't
know?
surprise me.
And it was like, that's the other thing that people don't always understand. Like the homeless community out here, you see them take care of each other too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they can treat each other poorly, but so do all of us sometimes. We don't always treat each other right. But the amount of times I've seen the people that appear to have nothing at all give everything they have to somebody else in need, like.
And you see that, I'm sure, a lot. And you'll know what I'm talking about when I tell you there's times I go to give somebody a backpack and they won't take it unless I take something from them. And so I thought that was so weird at first. Like, no, I'm not here to take anything. I want to give you. And I traded a guy like a can of corn for a backpack. But to me, I realized like he wanted to be on the same playing field as me. He didn't want me to look down on him because I remember standing in line for food as a kid, and anybody who'd walk by, I knew that they knew I was poor, and I hated that. Like, I wish there was not food banks. I wish there was like grocery stores built just so that you could go in and shop like a normal person and get whatever you want, and you don't have to be in that line where people look at you and know that you're poor. And so they have like a code out on the street. Like that's a respect thing, and I've learned a lot.
Dude, some I wouldn't even say some. I would say most are willing to put their situation at risk to look out for their people.
Oh yeah.
Like you're just like you're playing yourself right now, and generally speaking, some of the people come in aren't the greatest people, and I'm like, yo, they're ruining this for you, and when you go back to the streets, they're not gonna give a shit,
Right.
but they're like they're my street people, and I gotta take care of them, and I understand, but at the other time, you kind of got to be like, yo, man, you can't be doing that shit.
Oh, man.
Well, yeah, and that's getting into the housing process a little bit more, and that's always tough because housing guilt, which we've talked about on here. But we try to explain to people, like, you got to understand, somebody gets housed for the first time in 10 years. They had a family on the streets that took care of them. They took care of each other. They're going to continue that because in their mind it's temporary, or it could be.
Yeah.
Nothing is forever in their life. Nothing.
So they're like, whatever I get, I want you guys to enjoy it.
And if they lose it, they don't want to break that bridge down that they had with their people, because if they get back on the streets, they need to make sure that foundation is still solid. And that's what's hard too. I just saw something talking about the workplace situation now, where they've discovered it. We can function without all these people going back into offices. They can work from home, and there's going to be a significant amount of people who can do their job and want to do it from home, and they're deciding, do we force them to come back or not? Whatever, the realtors or whatever the hell those people are called that have the big building, they're like, what are we going to do with their, like, convert them into affordable housing. Let's get some more people off the streets. Like, let's do that. Like,
They're going to tear it down and make a parking
they
lot.
will. We need more parking garages.
Isn't that a song?
Oh, man.
But
I think so.
There's so many more things that we could do, and I hate seeing just all the vacant areas. And
Well, remember when they opened up the library?
Yeah.
I was amazed at how fast they did that, because they pretty much were up against the wall. They had to. And so we proved to ourselves as a city, we could open up a huge shelter in 24 hours and take care of bathrooms, and, it was clean and like that, because for so many years it was like, oh no, it would take too much to do that. And it's like, wait a minute, we just did that when COVID came to town. We did it in 24 hours and nobody wants to talk about that. Like, oh, well, that was a special situation. It's like, no, we can do that anytime. But
Do you have a relationship with the mayor in Spokane?
I do now, because I helped her recently, and she sent me this really cool award and gave me a big shout out on her personal Facebook page and
I'll
video.
keep my
and,
comment to myself.
no. And, trust me.
Do you remember the library situation?
yeah.
Yeah, that irritated me.
Yep. And
Do you remember, TJ?
No.
She basically said homeless people shouldn't be at the downtown library. I don't know if she changed her outlook on it, but when she first came in, I was like, hey, this isn't, you've been in this town for, god dang, I was watching her when I was a kid.
Oh,
So, so I was like,
I don't even know what our mayor's name is.
I think Nadine Woodward.
Nadine.
When we had, we talked a little bit of trash when Deese is on here.
That would make sense. That was episode 3.
So when I used to case manage, I go to community court, and obviously homeless people were congregating down there, and she first came in, she didn't really like it. I don't know the exact wording of what she said, but it wasn't recepted very well.
so I'm going to be very honest. When she became mayor, I was a little nervous because I didn't think she had a lot of experience with homelessness. And because that's big on my heart, I was like really kind of watching to see, and I am happy to say that she's reached out to a lot of people. A lot of people have gotten in her ear, and she's learning what it's about. And that means so much to me. Like when I see somebody who's never experienced this kind of stuff, and they talk about people like maybe they're different people than me and you, that is a red flag to me, and I can always tell right away when someone's trying to understand. And so the efforts that she has made has made me feel better. Like, okay, you know what? She's not, I just think that some people weren't born into a life where they were around a lot of homeless people. That doesn't mean they're a bad person. That just means that they did things in a different way and went off. Because a lot of times I go to Gonzaga, so a lot of those kids were privileged kids who were born and bred to go to Gonzaga from the time they were born, and they'd never even walked across the street by themselves at that, let alone go talk to a homeless person. And so going out with a classroom and talking to homeless people, and I was the leader, was amazing because these kids were like, their jaws were open, and I mean, they were seeing the real stuff, people fist fighting in front of them and urinating, and it was rough, but they needed to see that. And I think that's no different than a mayor that's never been around it. You need to know what's out there before you start trying to take care of it.
I just assumed I shouldn't have. Just that someone that had been doing the news for so damn long and been a staple in the community, I thought she would have known more.
That's why I don't ever want to be mayor. People are always telling me to run for mayor, and I'm like, do you hate me? Like, why would you even like that is the furthest thing from my mind. I can get so much more done on my own than I would ever be able to do with my hands tied.
At least you started right. At least you started ground up.
Yeah.
You I think that's start from the bottom and then become mayor. I think your perspective would be a little better than someone that was just like, well,
I'm gonna try this.
I don't know what the hell this is, but all right.
I think that speaks highly. That's cool to hear that she's adapting and learning and growing from it. Because I think that's a big problem with politicians when they're stuck in their own ways. So to hear that she's not stuck, that's huge. That's cool. Nadine Woodward.
Woodward. Well, you never watched KHQ?
And I had a crush on her back in the day, boy.
I grew up watching her. Yeah.
Oh, she was a news person.
Yeah.
And she became mayor.
I don't think I've seen her in a long.
Okay, I think I heard about that
in a long time. But I remember her being like pretty good looking. I think it was like back in the day though. Like,
Nadine,
news,
I told holler at Mike.
Yo, Nadine, you married?
I told Mike.
This podcast is taking a weird turn.
It always does.
I told Mike to tweet Chris Crocker and be like, "Hey, congrats on becoming the mayor."
she replied.
She liked it.
That's hilarious.
She's like, he's like, hit her up. And I was like, I'll do it right now.
I'll call her.
She's probably like, what the hell is going on? Like,
Chris, she's the weather lady. That's funny. I stopped her one day years ago and was just in awe of her, and it totally interrupted her and her kids. And like, I would never do that now, but I was like, "You're the news lady." Dude, have you never seen anyone that's ever been on TV? God.
Hey, so bro, GU, how's your heart after that?
Yeah.
After that.
Shout out to our
I got a tattoo, but I can't.
Shout out to the Bulldogs.
How's your heart after that,
You know what? I'm gonna tell you guys, I thought I would be crushed like for weeks, but those guys carry themselves so professionally, so well, and they're better human beings than they are basketball. They just happen to know how to play basketball really well. So the way they carry themselves and the way they lost, and we're like, well, you know what? We won 31 in a row. We're getting exhausted. We probably are going to lose eventually. Like, I don't know. They made me feel better about losing. Yeah. I was like, all right, I guess because in real life that happens to us. I don't want to just think that I can go 32-0 on everything I do. Like, I understand that they're going to face ups and downs, but the next day I was over it, and I was like, "Whoa, that's weird," because I thought
Yeah, me too.
It stung really hard that night, but yeah, I didn't. Because I was proud of them.
They brought it within 10, and I was like, "So you're saying there's a chance?"
Oh man, but Baylor looked like an NBA team, so I'm like, "How are these guys just dominating us?" But they were clicking on all cylinders, and I just thought we looked tired. And
we looked tired.
I understand why.
And Vital looks like a grown ass man.
Vital.
Like the dude looks like what the hell? I'm you're not a college.
He's 24. He's 24. He's not like 20 like some of these kids.
He stayed in college for 8 years.
For sure.
So I had a class at Gonzaga, and every time I go into the class, Corey Kispert was coming out. And so I was like a little girl, like, I want to talk to Corey Kispert. But he always had like 12 people around him, and it was always guys. It was never girls. Like all these guys that just wanted to be his friend, and I could never talk to him the whole semester. I was like, well, maybe someday I'll bump into you.
I met Turioff when I was working at Subway, and he is super cool, dude.
Yeah. Do you guys remember Brandon Clark?
Yeah, he's a baller,
so
dude.
I got him. I cornered him in an alley. We were going to class.
Bro.
There's like an alley between our classes, and I was like, hey, are you, I don't know what to say. I just repeated his name like he didn't know what his name was. And he was like, yeah. He was super cool, though, and I took a selfie with him, and I worn that profile picture out.
Awesome.
Yo, Clark's doing his thing, though, man. Him and, what the hell is his name? The French dude.
Oh, Tilly?
Tilly. Him and Killy and Tilly are both in Memphis right now.
Killy and Tilly did what did you like, skills challenge MVP?
Oh, that was Sabonis. There's Gonzaga guys all over the NBA.
Yeah, so
right
Sabonis
now,
is like All-Star Weekend. Like I forgot what he did. I think it was
a skills challenge. Yep.
And I'm like, badass.
You know the Baby Shack?
Yeah.
He was on campus taking a tour a couple years ago as a 9th grader, and he was like 7'2" or something like that. I was like,
So what is
it was
he?
the
He's like
strength-
17 right now.
Bolo.
Yeah, yeah, so I
he's
think-
like 18.
I think I
19
saw
now.
him when he was 15 on the campus because they were like getting him ready for Gonzaga.
Because he
and
committed when he was
was so
16.
That's so
He's
crazy.
16. I want to see what he does next year. He's like, I was like, put him in, dude. I think if he's gonna be like that, the Karnowski,
Shemek.
probably better, dude. If he's just under there just getting rebounds all day, every day.
He's
Rebound
big, but he's
blocks,
fast. Like
Yeah.
they find the big guys that are quick too. It's like, whoa.
They didn't
And
play
it's
him.
crazy their player development, bro. Like Kispert, you know what I mean? Like what he's done since
Few
he was a
upsets
freshman.
me.
Like Few takes these guys, they don't play
He needs
as
to play
freshmen.
dudes on the bench. He needs to, because you see all these other teams. How are they getting it? They're getting 20 points off the bench.
Well, we're not always like that. We're not always just a 7-man team. You know what I mean? That just happened to be what it was this
Yeah,
year.
because Suggs, I think, was hurt and exhausted. I think his wrist was hurt. He got punched in the
Oh
chest.
yeah.
They're
Kicked in
getting
the
beat
nuts.
up, dude. And I think
And
other
he's probably
team,
gone next year, yeah.
Suggs is gone. Yai just he said he was going to go into the NBA or going to.
But then we're signing these phenom high school students too, so it's like, oh, that's fine, take them. We'll just have this
Right.
amazing young 15-year-old that knows how to dunk.
Watch out,
That's what it's about, reloading,
Yai
man.
will come back. I swear to God, like a lot
He's-
of the, even like the foreign exchange kids that they end up coming back here because they're like, oh, Spokane has nothing, and they're like, well, that's where I'm gonna come back. I think Turyoff came back here, didn't he?
I don't know if Turyoff's here. I've seen
A lot of them liked it and they
Sacre.
came back.
Which one
I've seen
does the car
Sacre.
commercial? Like there's a car
Sacre.
commercial.
Yeah. That's clowning. I've seen Morrison. He's about to drop a podcast too, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Did you hear his reaction to the UCLA Suggs buzzer beater?
Was it?
Oh, he was
fucking
He was
freak.
doing the radio announce, and yeah, he was.
All you could hear him.
Yes.
Making brand new noises he's never made before.
Yeah,
what
bro.
was that, dude?
That's what we did, dude. My
Oh, I was tripping.
Bro,
I
I was
was
at the
hoarse.
Black Diamond,
I bet that was
and
crazy.
that building was like vibrating.
Yeah.
You remember that, Aaron?
was it the Suggs?
Oh my god!
Was it the Suggs quake?
Suggs Quake.
Oh,
Dude,
Not
because
the Beast
people were
Quake.
freaking out, dude. Because I there's like houses across the street. I was at my buddy's house and his wife, and we were all like, "What?"
I wish that was the finals.
If only
I wish
that
that's
could
where
have
we
been
ended
the
it.
freaking
Can you
championship,
imagine?
man.
God, that
Oh,
would have been
man.
amazing.
They
But
said that was a fluke, and Few says, "No, he makes those all the time."
Yeah.
everybody's hating.
Yeah,
Skip Bayless.
especially.
What a trick.
Prick. Skip Bayless is on a lucky shot, and I'm like, "Shut up, Skip." Kind of like your journalism career.
Dude, Richard Sherman clowned him so hard.
He's like, "I'm better at life than you, Skip."
I just liked how the whole country was talking about us that week. It was like, fuck yeah.
And they finally were pronouncing our name correctly.
Did they say
Some of them.
Did they say,
Some of them.
Did they say Zaga?
I don't know. I did see that video of that one guy schooling everybody.
Oh,
That was hilarious.
Jay
When
Billis.
we were in the finals 2017, some dude called it Spokane.
Oh.
Spokane, Washington, Gonzaga Bulldogs. And I'm like, dude, I want to punch you right in your mouth.
They've been doing that so long. I used to watch that Rescue Me show back in the earlier 2000s or
They've
something.
been in the tournament every year for
And
how goddamn long?
Since
And you can't-
'99.
Even then, they were like, "Who's Gonzaga? Like, who's Gonzaga?"
Like,
I don't know.
like since 99 and you can't, so 22 years and you can't get it right.
I mean, it's weird because I know who like Xavier and Villanova is, you know what I mean? Or, well, who's some of the small schools? Weber State, you know,
I don't know.
Lehigh.
I'm a
least we
I'm
know
a
who
Oral
they
Robert.
are.
I'm a Oral Roberts
Oral
fan now.
Roberts.
Yeah.
Straight up, dude. I was like, this is amazing. They were taking out they took out the number 1 seed. They took out the 5, and I was like, dude, they didn't make it to Elite 8, did they? They almost did though.
I don't know, bro.
But they scared a lot of people for a minute,
real.
thinking they were going to
Yeah.
keep going.
It's fun, man. It's a fun time of year for sure.
Fucking underdogs, 15 seed or something, 14 seed.
That was us. at
I
one
loved going to
time.
the games because as a student, I could get one ticket into every game, and so that was crazy because I've spent 20 years being a fan and never even had close.
Did you
to a
go
chance.
into any
Right.
this year?
What's that?
Did you go?
No, not this
you're
year.
not- no one was allowed, huh?
No, but the years that I did get to go in 2019, 2018, it was so funny because I had to sit in the student section, even though I'm old, fat, I don't want to jump, and so I'd just walk down into the student section, and all these kids would look at me like, "Wow, please don't sit next to me," and I'd be like, "Can I sit here?" And they'd look at each other and be like, "I guess," and scoot over, and
Can't sit here.
then they just start jumping like It's like doing jumping jacks for 2 hours, and I'm like, this
So
is
crazy.
like, how do you hold nachos and do jumping jacks?
Bro.
You can sit here if you
Sitting on the
want to.
TV, it kind of annoys me at times. I'm just like, will you guys just shut up
Oh
for
my God.
5 minutes?
And the
dude?
worker, every single game, a worker would come down some point during the game and say, "Sir, this is the student section," and nudge me, and I'd be like, I got to the point where I was wearing my ID, and I'd be like, "I know I'm a student, just like leave me alone."
Do you,
They'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
you remember when they'd have games occasionally at the arena?
Every once in a while, every so
They
often.
had it was a North Carolina Gonzaga.
Remember when COVID came to town? They had the NCAA.
Yeah, it was Gonzaga,
Was gonna
North
play.
Carolina at the arena, and my buddy's like, "We're getting tickets. I don't give a shit how much they cost." And he's like, "They're $200. You want to go?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, you only live once." And like, it's canceled. And I'm like,
No,
So trash.
that was
and,
bad.
and I think me and
so trash.
TJ were, and was it me, you, and someone else? We're gonna go watch Alistair Overeem fight and Michelle Watterson in Portland, Oregon, and boom.
I think what made that less hurtful is like the whole world was crumbling. So I was like, okay, I guess we could live with this. Like if it just had happened out of the blue just for Spokane, it would have been
Right.
But at the same time, the whole world was freaking out, and I was like, okay, maybe the game isn't important. I better go home and figure out what's happening to the.
It's all
Right.
just all shut down.
Yeah. Oh man, I hope we never have to go through this again.
There'll be something else.
That's a cool segue, actually.
I know, right? I was
During
just
this shutdown, Rick, you started something phenomenal during this called the Spokane Quarantine,
Yeah.
and holy shit!
Oh, my
You
God.
guys have raised over $250,000.
over 300.
Oh, what,
Yep.
And
bro?
And what is it you guys do?
So when the March 18th, 2020, when everybody got, the stay-at-home orders, it was just a really weird time. I didn't understand how you couldn't be out in groups, and so my outreach work was always done in groups, and so I couldn't do outreach work anymore. And Virginia, my wife, is like, well, you need to do something. You're just pacing around the house, and if we're going to live here for a year in this house, we better figure something out, And so I got online, and I was like, well, I have a following of people. Maybe I could raise $200, and I could buy 20 pizzas from Pizzerita, and I could have it sent to the Hope House. That's my goal. So I could help the business by paying full price. I didn't want any deals because Brian Dickman owns that, and he always tries to give me a deal. But I was like, I will fist fight him and make him take my money, and then we'll bring these pizzas over to Hope House. And so I did this weird, awkward live show, and it was the worst. If you watch it, it's just like painful to watch. But we raised $600 in 15 minutes, and I was like, oh, okay, so I can help 2 restaurants and 2 shelters, which we did. And then my wife was like, you should do it again tomorrow. And I was like, look, everybody's financially anxious. Nobody knows what's happening with their money. There's no way anybody's going to give me more the second night. Like I feel like it'd be kind of weird to ask people. So I did it the second night, and I got $1,000 in 15 minutes.
And I remember.
kept
I think I
seeing the
remember that,
group
yeah.
grow.
And it was
more
just
more.
all
I was
coming in
just
through
like,
PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. Facebook shut my Facebook pay down because they didn't understand what was going on, And I was constantly on the phone trying to let them know I'm trying to do something good. Would you please unblock my
This is
stuff?
not my OnlyFans account.
Gee.
Facebook's
guy's on
always
fire.
there. Facebook's always willing to ruin a good time.
Oh, duh, they did too. So,
Yeah.
and so that turned into 112 days. We raised $250,000, helped 150 restaurants. To go into a restaurant and drop $3,000 on them, and they're just bawling, saying they were on their way to cancel their rent check because they didn't think they could pay rent. Like that stuff really happened. And then to buy those meals and give them out to shelters or anybody, first responders. We did so many different things that we started opening up to the public. So if you're experiencing any food insecurities, a lot of families are experiencing it for the first time. So they're like, Rick, we've never even been to a food bank. What do we do? And so we started buying like 300 meals full price and then telling the community, go get a free meal. And so business owners would open their door and see 100 people lined up, 100 people with their masks 6 feet apart, there for the free meal, but we paid full price for every single meal. I wanted them to feel like 300 people walked in and bought each item full price. And
Do
so,
any of these people, like when you're like going in there with $3,000 for meals, are they just like overwhelmed with like the volume of what they like,
so as it caught on,
what do we have to do right now to get this fucking
one
rolling?
lady, okay, so out at the, do you guys know Conley's place?
Yeah, out on Sprague.
Yeah. She was the funniest because she thought I was like selling or something. Like there's got to be a catch, and so it took me like 3 days to convince her I wanted to buy all of her food. It was the weirdest thing. She'd call me back and she'd be like, "I don't know. I've never had anybody do this, so I don't think it is what it is. What? Just get to the bottom line. What do you want from me?" And I'm like,
So
I
I'm gonna
want
bring
to
you.
survive.
I'm gonna bring you cash right now.
Yeah,
Give me your food.
I'll
And
just
she's
throw
like,
it in your building. I don't even care if you don't even make meals, but if you want to make the meals, we have some hungry people that could use them. And then as it caught on, you guys, I would call a place and say, hey, my name is Rick Clark, and I'm with Spokane Core. And I'd get that far, and the owner or somebody would start screaming on the phone, like, we were hoping you would
Yeah,
call
because
us.
they're probably dying to get selected.
Yeah, it was the weirdest, because I'm not into that. Like, I feel really weird. Like, I don't want to feel like Ed McMahon, like I'm there to give him some money. But it was really a fun thing to be able to, every day, that was my job. So every day
Are
I
you
woke
still
up.
doing it?
Yeah.
That's
I don't
fucking
want to like
dope.
shameless plug nothing, but have you done Market Street Pizza yet?
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, those guys. So I went in there and ate the best pizza I've ever had in my life.
That's
and
that's my guy. I went there the other day and I was like, "Yo, man, I just want some lunch slices." He's like, I ain't got no slice right now, but I can make you some. What do you want? And he's like, "What do you want? Just name what you want to put." I was like, "I don't know, just like make." He's like, "You want 2 slices?" So he's 3 slices. Like, how much are they? He's like, "Oh, you ain't gonna pay." I was like, "No, you don't gotta fucking pay me." And I'm like, "No, I gotta give you something." He's like, "No, you don't. You gotta pay me. Come back here and look at this oven real quick. I'll show you something." Yeah, I don't know. That it's bomb, right?
Yeah, and it's a cool place. I walked in there because last time I was in there, I did stand-up comedy years ago just to see what it was like.
Oh, and it like blues at the bend or whatever back.
What pizza did you get?
What's that?
What pizza did you get?
I got the pepperoni. Just like, okay, I'm gonna be safe and just do the right thing. And
Right.
it was amazing. I was like, okay, I have a lot of friends who own pizza places, and I had to tell them the truth. I was like, that's the best pizza I've ever had.
That's so bomb.
I really used to like the Monterey Cafe. I don't know if anybody knows the people that own the place, so fair warning. My daughter went there for like, obviously it's Tuesday, so they're probably pretty busy, but it wasn't as great as it used to be. And I don't know if they changed something or what.
Didn't you guys at Monterey Cafe?
What did you eat there
No.
recently?
So my homeboy goes up, right, and I think he orders 2 slices of pizza, right?
This is gonna be funny.
And they come back and they give him 1 slice.
That was
And
stoned.
he's like, yeah, I ordered 2 slices, though. And so they're like, all right.
Cut it in half.
Ran the fucking slicer, cut that bitch into 2
That's
slices.
a good one.
And like, here's your 2 slices of pizza.
That's
So I was
funny.
like, oh my god, dude, that's fucking hilarious.
I like the last time. Hey, if any of them listen, hey, because usually it has like a little char on it. It's a little darkened. Like
Yeah.
it was super doughy when I got it, and I was like, this isn't normal. Like I remember going in there after drinking all night, and you're like, Heartburn City boy, and them slices were bomb.
I didn't even know about that. I just knew about the yellow taco truck.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the
That
yellow
place is-
taco truck. That's Heartburn City too,
Bro,
man.
it's so fire, though.
The older I get, I just can't eat that stuff. And I'm trying to support all these restaurants. I've gained literally 22 pounds since this whole thing happened. And I'm like, this is got
All for the good of the community.
Yeah. I guess I'll help you. Give me more of those tacos. I'm only doing this to help you.
No, me and my wife went through that when this all started because we're like, oh, we gotta start putting our money into local businesses. So we started eating out all the time.
How about a gym?
Yeah.
You guys,
like, oh,
you guys
shit.
do El Sol?
Ooh, where's that at? I don't think we
I
have.
think it's on
Division
Division now.
next to it used to be like zombie donut or something. Whatever.
So we've been doing this for a
I
year.
drive by there all the time. I never ate there though.
It's
good.
bomb.
Ooh.
Some of the best tacos.
They got the burrito tacos and they got I think they had the best torta
Hey,
in
hey.
town. Just
Did they
shout
use-
out.
They got
Do they
Cuban
use
tortas?
sheep for their burrito?
Sheep?
I don't know.
Isn't it sheep or lamb?
Lamb?
Is it
Sheep?
lamb?
Nah,
Maybe
it's-
lamb.
It's beef.
It could be an option.
Like a
in some
gyro
places,
is
I guess,
lamb.
yeah.
Yeah, it's beef,
Could have
right?
swore it was fucking
Sheep.
sheep.
No, I think
bro.
I think TJ's allowed to pick your meat. It's carne asada.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when we went to El Sol, they told us it was a couple different meats together.
They have
Pretty sure.
Cuban tortas.
Oh, goat. I'm a fucking clown, dude. Sheep.
Goat meat?
Goat.
Yeah, they said they use goat meat in traditional burrito.
Oh, and traditional.
Oh, wow.
I'll get
Or
a,
beef, but mostly goat.
I like to get a traditional freaking what are them things called?
Your tortas?
The Greek days.
Oh, the Euros?
Gyro?
Get a euro, but I'll get like mid rare beef.
The
on it.
gyro.
Gyros.
mid rare
gyro.
beef because I don't know. I don't like what the stuff they slice off the thing. That's
Lamb, yeah.
lamb, but it's
Too
like
much
lamb
salt.
mixed with beef, isn't it?
They put too much salt on those, man.
I don't know.
On the meat. I'm like, damn, man.
But like
you guys
that,
You don't fuck with
do
lamb,
too
bro?
much, man.
that and a Greek salad. I like lamb if it's marinated for a really long time. It's really gamey.
I swear I got Greek fries one time. I was like, what makes
Bomb.
these Greek? They're like, oh, we put some garlic on there.
No, they didn't put they put
Greek feta.
they put garlic and feta on them.
Oh, My bad.
The feta cheese.
Fuck. That's
I'm all
Greek as
hungry
fuck.
at 9:30 at night now.
Bro,
There was
You don't even-
There was like
You don't like feta, motherfucker?
I do, but I was like, well,
we get going on these food conversations,
Yeah.
man. I'm dying, bro.
in Portland. There was a charging station next to a Greek restaurant out in Beaverton, so I'd always hit that up when I was driving on that side. And it was like they'd have meat and potato dishes all on their menu, but the meat was too seasoned, man.
But he just
Like
mentioned like the
everything else,
quarantine and like two of my favorite things, helping people and eating food.
I know,
Yeah,
it's
Jesus
genius.
Christ.
Right?
There's a Greek restaurant in the valley called Two Towers, or what is it? Two Pillars or something like that. That guy was hilarious. He's not from here, and he was just very, very business oriented. I gave him $3,000, and he just grabbed it and put it in his pocket. And he's worked like 365 days in a row without a day off. He literally told us that. He has no employees. He does the whole thing by himself, and he's like, let me go get some panties for my face. And so he came back with a mask on. And he was hilarious, but his food was out of this world. Like that was probably one of the best
Hey,
places.
what's the? I think his name is probably Domini, the old school dude that
Oh,
works
yeah.
at Domini. He's always there.
Talking about Dominique subs or whatever?
Dominique, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't say much, but you could tell he's just a hardworking dude, and he's just always there. I think he's the owner of the place.
that's the sandwich shop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hooked
Oh,
him
dude.
up, and he,
What is he? He's Greek, yeah.
yeah, but he like hugged me and was so like super nice. And I've seen him 3 years of being across at the STA. I took buses for 4 years, and he was always so intimidating and like.
He's very stoic,
Yeah,
right?
but when you bring $3,000 in, he hugs.
Yeah.
I got a question. Did you guys ever rock with any Indian food restaurants?
Yeah, for sure. Taste of India, and then
That's the one on Division.
yeah, and then there's one on the Sprague in the
I
valley.
ate at that one before. I thought that one was pretty good. I
Yeah.
never tried the one on
Kane
Division
says it's
yet.
good on the plumbing. Do you agree?
I didn't eat it.
Oh,
No, I was just I'm just the guy that passing out the money, but we tried to get every kind of culture, we didn't want to leave anybody out.
Oh, yeah.
We tried to find anybody that we could to give our money to, and some people were a little bit leery, like, well, I need the money up front. A lot of them were like, dude, you can pay me. I don't care when you pay me. You're Rick Clark from Spokane Quarantine. I'm like, dude, that's credit I've never had before.
That's so cool, bro. That's so cool.
Oh, jeez.
they also got a new soul food restaurant at the old Fox.
Yep. So we just hooked them up. Is that the one on Sprague? The
The soul.
Flame.
Yeah,
Remember
the old flame. The old
Yeah.
flame. I said Fox. The old flame. Yeah.
Yeah, he is proud of his food. Like it's home style. Like he puts his heart and soul into it. But like
I gotta go try it, dude. I drove
we
by
paid
there today.
$17 a meal. Usually we would be around 10 or 12 or 13.
Oh, so that's not the flame anymore?
No,
Oh, okay.
but he had some chicken and oh man, it was so good. We
Yeah?
bought 200 meals from him.
That's across from Northwest Seed and Pet.
Yeah. Last time I was there, I was at a drag show.
Yeah,
Yep,
me-
I
we
was
were
at
there
a drag
together,
show.
weren't we?
No, I went to 2.
Oh, you didn't invite me the next time?
I did, and they said, "Yo, just come down here to the Flame. There's a drag show." I was like, "Well, I've been to one of those before." They're like, "That's fine." And I go down there, and we have a friend that may be super homophobic, but every time there's a drag show,
He's
there.
always there,
Interesting, right?
dancing on the dance floor.
Oh, that's
I said, for being such a homophobe, you're always
He's
here.
very comfortable here.
He's like, I come for the free drinks.
Oh, wow.
But we've helped 175 restaurants now, and there's still like probably 175 left.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're about halfway through, which a year later seems ridiculous. But that's how big Spokane is. There's a lot of places still.
Yeah, we got a lot of food here.
So much food in restaurants.
You know what
definitely.
I love too, because it's not even just about the money that you get for them for that day. It's like all the attention that it brings to them. Because even if they don't get to, the people don't get to be the ones that get the meal part of, now they know who they are, and now they're thinking about it. Now they're thinking, well, Rick supports them. Maybe I need to think about them when I'm going out.
Yeah.
Forget about McDonald's. Forget about all these things that we're always driving by with the arches and
Just spend a moment
Yeah.
of your time and do a
Yeah.
little bit extra, you
Yeah.
know. And we a lot of people, the owners have said, Rick, it's not the money that you gave us that first time. It's the 3 weeks after that we've been super
Yeah.
busy. And I'm like, wow, I wasn't expecting that stuff to happen. That's just the extra stuff that came along with it, you know.
yeah, it's huge. So I love that because you clearly have a platform now, and you use it so well. And I wish more people would use their platforms for good, like
Right.
Because that's another thing, just inspiring.
When you have followers, you have a responsibility. So you can take this stuff that you do and you can do good with it, or you can do bad with it. And you're right. I mean, I see so many people like not even abusing it, but just going the wrong way with their platforms and the following that they have. And I'm like, man, you could be killing it. Because the minute you upset somebody or do the wrong thing, you're gone. And it's hard to get followers back once they've left you.
Yeah.
And so it's really important for me to include everybody, man. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care, what you're going through. I want you to feel safe and happy here. And I say light attracts light. So when people are attracted to what's going on, they want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And if you guys are like with this, if you're doing good and you get followers and people are starting to listen to you guys, like doing good things with it too, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it makes people kind of hunker in with you for a lot longer than just one show or, you know.
Absolutely.
It's just like 100% local businesses, correct?
Yeah.
Or is it any like no franchises, right?
No franchises, and there's one that started in Reno, Nevada, Sacramento, California. So they're starting to. I'm doing Zoom calls with people who are in other cities who are saying, "I found your stuff and I love what you're doing. Can I start something here?" And I'm like, "Absolutely! It's beautiful."
You done Dick's?
Hell yeah.
We did Dick's, dude. That was
Nice.
600 burgers we bought. That was like one of our biggest
Nice.
orders.
Oh, that's
Done.
amazing.
And then if people got mad, they're like, "Dick's is not ever like." Without customers, every time I drive by there's 100 people there. Why did you do Dick's? I'm like, well, we literally had to. It's Spokane.
You see that most of the folks that are at Dick's are
Working class poor people.
working class,
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
working class or worse.
Yeah,
And I learned that she owns Frankie Doodles, and Frankie Doodles was shut down. So I
really?
didn't feel bad at all giving her money because she literally was paying wages for people that weren't working to try to keep them afloat. So I was like,
And
as soon as I heard
Spokane
that,
Dick's
so
is better than Seattle Dick's.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Goddamn right.
I said when we were out there in Seattle, I was like, man, let's go to Dick's. And I was like, this is
What
garbage.
is this?
This is garbage.
I remember the Dick's one because somebody actually hit me up. They're like, "Hey, Rick hit Dick's for the cord. Let's go get a free burger. Let's go hit." I was like, "No, I'm gonna let the people who need it go get it."
Is Hogan still on the South Hill?
Yeah, we did Hogan's.
I
That
just
place
heard
is
about that
fucking excellent.
Dude, that chicken fried steak is fucking legit
So,
at that place.
That
bro.
guy, he owns Hogan's, and then his sister owns Rockwood Cafe. And I thought it was so cool when I talked to him. He goes, "Is there any way I can split my gift with my sister?" And I was like, "Oh man, is that not a cool brother thing to do?" Like, he could have taken this 3,000, but he said, "Can you give 1,500 and my sister will bring food to the table, and then I'll bring food." And I was like, "Absolutely." So that was another cool thing. Like, just so many cool things have come out of this that are above and beyond what I expected. I just thought I was helping a couple restaurants, and it's turned into friendships. Dude, you guys, I'll try to say it without crying, but there's an 11-year-old girl who was in gymnastics, and she got some kind of bone disease, and it basically put her in a wheelchair right when COVID started, and she's 11. And her mom wrote me and said she got to the point where she was suicidal. She was so depressed and cooped up and stuck in this wheelchair. And I'm thinking, when you're 11 and you don't even want to live in this world, like, that's got to be tough, right? Yeah. And she said that the one thing that turned her completely around was she started watching our videos every night.
Oh wow.
Oh God. And she said she just came alive. She's happier now. She's more engaged. She's going to her appointments. And so I keep in touch with that girl. Like, we're buddies now. I'm like,
Hell yeah.
Chloe, me and you are friends. And if you need anything, man, I got you. And she knows I will, though, if she needs anything. And they're not a family that's like, "Oh, well, we'd like a new TV and we want a car." Like, they haven't asked me for anything, but I guarantee if they did need anything, I would throw it out there because this little girl just melted my heart. But that's the kind of stuff I wasn't expecting. And I think that's the cool thing about when good things happen. You get so much more out of it than just helping people eat,
That's
Absolutely.
huge.
Do you attend blessings at all?
No, I mean, I'm a
Okay.
Christian. I'm a man of faith, and so I don't get to talk about it very much. Is that what you're talking about?
No, blessings under the bridge.
Oh, I thought you meant like, do you go to church?
Like go to church. Yeah. That's what I
So
thought he meant too.
Me and the girl that started Blessings, Jessica, I guess we went to middle school together, and I did meet her right when Giving Backpacks was started. She gave me some stuff for my backpacks, and she gave me some really good advice about just don't let this turn into a business to where you're sitting in a cubicle filing for grants and wanting to do things. Like, stay out in the streets, because she said all I do now is go to meetings and I don't get to do the work. And I always remembered that. And so I still make sure that I have time after all my business stuff is done to go out and still do outreach work. So I don't talk to her at all because our paths have never crossed. We've been both are just really busy in different directions, but it was a really cool way to kind of start out, and they're doing good work,
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We see people all the time leaving from there. So they're always so happy.
Yeah.
It's like, I love
Something they can
seeing-
count on,
Yeah, it's one
yeah.
of my favorite things to drive by or walk by. It's just like good times during these dark times.
How long have
is
you been doing
awesome.
you do there?
I've been with them for
I'm going to interview you now.
this year I think will be 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for what you do, because when my wife was working at Hope House, it can be scary there at night, and it wasn't in the best area. And just to know that you guys were rolling through there, it just made me as a husband feel like safe. Like, okay, I can let her go to work one more night. It was terrifying dropping her off. And
Well, and so I've only been doing that for about 6, but yeah.
Yeah, it's about 6.
Yeah.
I just know seeing like folks, they're like, well, shit, man, it's Wednesday. I got to get ready because I got to go down to Blessings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's dope. Yeah. Just I don't know. And there's people that I know that'll be down there at 4 p.m. in a lawn chair with their dogs.
Well, when you feel disconnected from the community around you, when you have an appointment or something that makes you feel connected, even though it sounds weird, it's like if you only have one appointment for the whole week, that makes you feel like a normal human being because normal human beings have appointments, you know. And so it's amazing what just simple things.
What do you think the turnout is every Wednesday?
It's got to be 100 plus, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's got to be. It looks pretty crowded. And that's just some of the groups I see there. I'm sure people stop by and leave right away. Some people, because we had a client we were pretty close attached to him years ago. That was the one day of the week he truly looked forward to. It was Wednesday nights. He passed now, but it was just always great because he would be looking forward to. He's like, I'm gonna go find myself a dance partner tonight, you know, like. And
that's our partner.
Yeah,
man.
and like,
yeah,
it was just awesome because it was the one day of the week we knew he'd be in a good mood.
Wow.
Like it was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do cool work.
Oh yeah.
Loved it. Yeah, we've never said who we work for, right? I don't think they like us very much.
Oh
for
yeah.
it.
never said.
I don't
Never
think
said
we ever
who we work
have.
for.
You do have a job though, right? Like
Yeah.
All right, you're employed. All right. We don't have to say where.
I remember they used to serve food. They serve food, but after COVID, that shit all stopped.
At Blessings?
No.
Oh, our work.
Where we
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
where
Yeah.
we work, they serve food and people.
Oh, and that was sad too because
People would show
for
up at
months
11,
people were
like,
still
"Can I get
showing
some
up at
food?"
11 o'clock at night saying they were looking for. We're like, shit, I'm so they're not even here anymore. that they're not doing. They're like, oh well, where is it? I'll walk. And we're like,
It's just not a thing.
yeah, we're like.
I
sorry.
did an internship at Second Harvest. This had made me think of this. And people would walk all day to get to Second Harvest thinking it was a food bank.
Oh yeah.
And it was a food distributor that, you know, we gave the food to food banks, but I couldn't give any, even though I had a warehouse full of food, I couldn't give any. I'd have to turn them away and they'd just be in tears. Like, I wish somebody would have told me that. I literally have been walking all day to get here. And I'm just like, and literally like 4 feet behind me is a warehouse, just rooftop, you know,
Packed
it's like
full
roof
of
of
food.
food. And it's like, that's why it's really important for me to make sure that the information in my backpack is correct information, because there's nothing worse than giving somebody the wrong information. And some people will just copy and paste a bunch of information from 3 years ago and be like, these are the resources. Go get yourself some help. And it's like, okay, half of those aren't even going anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I got
Especially now,
staff
you gotta
that
be-
do that. They'll find like old ones. They'll be like, oh, I'm gonna give. I'm like, why don't you at least call the numbers first and make sure they're still active before you just give
Right.
that to somebody?
Bro.
It seems like nothing to you, but it's gonna mean everything to them.
Here, head to Coeur d'Alene. They can help you get your ID.
Yeah.
Yo, is that dude that had the trailer with the showers on it still driving around town? You remember that?
I don't think I remember that.
I saw
Like portable showers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that Jules Helping Hands has a really nice portable shower, like
okay.
beautiful.
Do you remember? Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, was that
that's
who it was?
Jules.
Yeah, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, they just park at different places and
this is
line up to take a
dope.
shower.
That's awesome.
That we're when they were trying to shut down the HOC from 24/7 to whatever, and then everyone was like, we're worthy of 24/7 services. We went down there and that shower thing pulled up. Then like some other people that were trying to be helpful pulled up with like cartons of Dutch Bros coffee, and I'm like, God damn, people actually give a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Because usually you see people like fucking banging on the fucking corner. There's people like showing up and they didn't want anything out of it. They just showed up because they knew that's where people were gonna be, and that's where they'd rather spend their time helping people. So
Yeah, no.
Are we approaching 60?
I think we are. It's almost 9:30.
We started at 8:30.
It was about
I'm gonna
it.
go peep the video.
Let me check. Yeah, you might want to check that number. All I have is my phone call from Rick to see.
Spokane is like that, bro. It's this place where, you know, people seem to.
Drop your social media and everything.
Oh yeah, for the video, we'll wrap up the video and keep audio going.
Oh, yeah.
Let the people know where to find you.
Just tell you right now.
Yeah.
So we're on Facebook. So Spokane Corn Team, which TEAM, like we're all in this together, and then giving backpacks.
Can you spell the whole thing?
Yeah, Spokane, SPOKANE,
Kanye.
Spokane.
and then Corn Team, QUARANTEAM.
Hell yeah.
And then your That's your main social media.
That one and giving backpacks, which is 3 words, and that's on Facebook. But we
Giving
don't-
backpacks.
I'm old, so I don't do
separate
Twitter or whatever these other ones are.
Oh, so it's giving back.
Packs.
Packs.
I was trying to be clever, and people
That
just
is-
think I don't know how to spell backpacks now.
And that is clever.
Giving
No.
backpacks.
When I saw that, I was like, well done, Rick.
yeah.
Well
No,
done.
I just caught on just now. Like,
And we want to do more than backpacks, so now we're thinking about like giving back purpose. So keep it a P so that we could be GBP and not have to change our website. But giving back passion, giving back purpose, giving back. Packs were the beginning. But like I said, I don't want to give out another 7,000 backpacks. I want to do.
Yeah.
No, that was
bigger
super
things.
clever, dude. Because have you ever listened to a song and you're like,
Website URL?
What's that?
Website URL?
Yeah, website URL is gbpacks.org.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys
Beautiful.
want to wrap up the
Yeah, just to finish the episode, y'all. Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, all that cool stuff.
All that shit.
Yeah, catch the rest of it on audio.
Wait.
we going?
Bullshit.
No, not
You made these flyers a long time ago, right?
Because our music is on TikTok.
Have you ever listened to a song and then listened to it again and then heard something and been like, oh.
That's what happened when you started giving backpacks.
damn.